I'm making a shooter game where a Shroom Chef kills sentient food foes for ingredients, but none of that is actually relevant. What is relevant though is how I define the behaviors for the enemies in the game. Usually, you'd want enemy AI to do certain tasks like chase the player or heal. You could write a script for an enemy type and add functions for every action they'll need to execute, but that process becomes cumbersome once you have about 10 different enemy types. There is another solution though. Finite state machines, also referred to as finite automata. States are the components used by state machines. They come with conditions and conduct defined actions. With a state machine, instead of writing all that gen code times 10, you'd only need to write the states once. For example, I want this guy, let's name him Brandon the Ball, to roll when spawned. To do that, let's pop that state machine right into its composition and create a new state called roll, inheriting the base state class. In the state script, I have exported variables such as roll speed, direction, and roll degrees. I can easily write a short script to change Brandon's velocity and angle during his process function. The state machine will call the state's function update every frame. Now, if we set the state's machine's starting state to roll, look him go. They grow up so fast. It looks like Brandon's getting tired, but his state machine isn't allowing him to stop. We've got to create a new state before he dies of overexertion. Let's create a new state called rest. In the state script, Brandon the Ball will stop movement and wait to regain stamina. After stamina is full, the state machine will switch back to rolling. Let's add a transition signal to the base state class and connect it to the state machine to let it know that it should transfer over its inputs to another state. Phew, close call. Now, this video isn't really meant to be a tutorial. I honestly just wanted to come back after like half a year to talk about code like a nerd, but if you're curious, I've based off all my code, well not all of it, but like most of it. Look, we don't need to get into logistics, but I based off my code for the state machine from bit.ly.tick's video. Link in the description.
But wait, what if you wanted to execute specific states and or specific functions and or change specific variables using specific conditions? Wouldn't it also become cumbersome to rewrite the roll script every time you wanted different specific conditions on different specific enemy types? Specifically speaking.
Let's not get too specific, but... So I thought to myself, I want my code to read conditions and lead to an output, right? Instead of being the same human being and writing if-else statements, why don't I create a new class called the logic solver that handles all the comparisons and returns booleans?
How the heck does it get the values it needs to compare?
That's a great question because it answers more classes. I created another class called the logic argument. It's a data container that stores two variables. I was still missing the other piece of the pie though, so I created two more classes inheriting this one. Variant argument allows the variable to compare itself to any value, whilst variable argument allows the variable to compare itself to any other variable using the same setup as the logic argument. Now we have the statements the logic solver should check. But what about the outputs? I've created yet another class called the logic list that contains functions as strings the script should call, variables the script should change, and an array of logic arguments. Now for the most important part. How the logic solver actually uses all this information to return results. This video wasn't meant to be a boring lecture either. Pause if you want to find out what I was going to ramble about. I do not want to animate this entire portion. Oh, also, here's like a flowchart or something if you don't want to read all of that. Wow! I've made an overly complicated system just to shave off like 25% of the scripts I'll have to write. Was this worth it? This probably wasn't worth it.
I didn't get any of that. Can you post all this code so I can take a closer look?
Description. At some point in development, the cogs in my head finally started spinning again and told me,
Dude! What the heck was the point of all this garbage? Couldn't you have sequenced through the state machine states? Like, on enter, check if health is below a certain value. If not, go to the next state, check for a different value, and repeat. Over-engineering, I swear!
Nope. Oh well. Since I've created it, there isn't really a reason not to use it now. It's like how people use selfie sticks. Anyways, the funny thing about this is that... Oh my days, just stop talking. You really should have peer-reviewed this video script before recording. What? Get out of here. Let me finish this one. The logic system has only been used in weapons mechanics ATM. I didn't want to put state machines in their compositions because it sounded like a bad solution. See? I just condensed an entire paragraph down to a single sentence. Take notes, me.
And you took the nuclear approach.
And I took the nuclear. Hey, wait, weren't you the one who suggested this in the first place?
No.
You know what? That's it. Get in the cage.